what we say about the Chinese is right here. It's completely right. You know how you have those fake Teslas that look like a Tesla? Well, they're making a fake Anthropic. They're cloning models. They found a way to clone models. It's really effective. That's crazy. I'm sorry. I'm not allowed to do any financial. I am not capable of testing this. It's like, why are you not capable of putting in? It's a fake credit card. Everybody knows the 4242, the Stripe test credit card that you're allowed to use. Why would that be a problem to test the flow? You're basically being counterproductive here because of your woke mind.
So let's say AI is creating 100 PRs and you can review one per day. You are clearly the bottleneck. And labs are looking at this right now. Labs are trying to find ways to automate reviews because the reviews are the bottleneck. Yes, it's still needed because the slop is slop, but reviews are a bottleneck that will be fixed. And at some point, the moment it's fixed, we will be way more productive.
Welcome to Watch Out for AGI podcast, your go-to podcast for the latest in AI. We dive into cutting-edge models, news, and products with insights from developers and creators worldwide. AI evolves fast, and we are here to keep you informed. So whether you're coding, building, or just curious about AI, stick with us to stay ahead of the game. This is Watch Out for AGI. Let's get into it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Watch Out Podcast, your most consistent podcast out there. We have been cooking like crazy. I even had to upgrade my Claude to Max 200.
But wait, Remy, I think I saw a tweet from you. Didn't you cancel at some point? And then you changed your mind? You were like, I cannot work without Claude?
No, I canceled GPT.
Okay.
I canceled GPT. GPT, I stopped paying. And now if I go to GPT after 2 messages, I get into the free bucket. I get the free bucket messages basically. And you have to come back tomorrow. You only have 1 photo that you can send it, and then it kind of maxes out. And I think it's 1 attachment. So it can be a photo, some kind of audio or something, and then it's over. And also, if you were a GPT hardcore user and you moved over to Claude, you're going to max out on your space. So they're going to tell you, you have no more space left. You need to do something about that. I have no idea what that means. Delete conversations or images that were generated. I don't know, but you can have them. It's fine. I'm not coming back. We're going to get into it, but I could come back under one condition. We'll get into that one in this podcast. The models are not at all like what you can get at Claude. What about you?
Yeah, no, I tried to pay for it this month. I wanted to give it a try. So I actually tried it like 2 days. And I just came back on Claude. I'm not using it anymore. Just like the model feel like just less capable. I don't. Plus, I guess they're going to have a problem. Like we saw like a wave of unsubscribe on Twitter. Like I think it's because of like the contract with the Pentagon, blah blah blah. Because Sam Altman immediately accepted. But more than that, just by myself and specifically for coding, Codex is just not on par. I just don't like it. I think I'm just so used to Claude at that point.
Why don't we jump right into it? Actually, we were going to get into this a bit later, but what about if we compare these 2 companies, compare these 2 models? Let's start with looking at Claude Sonnet.
It is still old news. It's like 2 weeks ago, but it's like the most recent from Claude.
Sonnet 4.6 came out a few weeks ago, and it didn't make any big noise. You know, actually, Emrick, I was hyping up on my X account that Sonnet 5 was coming, right? You remember that whole rumor about Sonnet 5, Sonnet 5?
Yeah.
Well,
you were posting like crazy.
I was participating in the frenzy of bullshit. But let me tell you what the rumors were. So there were a few outages that happened. And then I remember there was some kind of rumor, some I think Vercel said, tomorrow is going to be a good day to code or something. I have no idea. Then nothing happened, right? And so then they said, tomorrow is going to be a better day to code. Nothing happened. And so what is happening here with Anthropic? We're like, okay, waiting for Sonnet 5. And then Opus 4.6 drops. And then everybody was like, this is all bullshit. Opus 4.5, but they just rebranded it. And they're going to distill it. And they're going to sell Sonnet 4.6 as a distilled version of Sonnet 5. I don't
Yeah.
know if that makes any sense. Emrick, do you think that Opus and Sonnet are basically the same model and one is distilled of the other, or what?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah. You just have a more expensive model, the Opus, and it's a nice distillation with Sonnet. That's 100%. Like all the labs are doing this. Sometimes when you distill, you actually find that it can get better results. Like as an example here, you see some tasks where it's better than Opus, but it's almost 100% sure it's a distillation of Opus.
Let me say that I was coding this week, and it was doing really good work. And I was like, wow, this is doing better work than usual. And then I saw it was Sonnet 4.6, and I usually code in Opus. And I was like, wow, I did not expect that. I did not expect Sonnet to do Opus work. It's really good. Really, really good. I mean, to be honest, like, Emrick, can you tell the difference between Sonnet and Opus when doing basic coding work?
No, coding work, no. No, absolutely not. Yeah, no. I would not see a difference if you're talking about something basic. But if you talk about something a bit more hard, like doing a paper review and then implementing that paper, clearly having Opus makes a difference.
By the way, one more thing came out. So let's get into this table here. What does this table tell us here? We have Sonnet 4.6 that's right behind Opus 4.5. What we're seeing is the 4.6 family is a little bump, and you know what? Sonnet 4.6, it's a Opus 4.5. It's a Opus 4.5 performance right there, right?
Yeah, you got it. I think that's what they were marketing about. They were like saying, yeah, you're getting an Opus for the price of Sonnet. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, in a lot of categories, it's even better than Opus 4.5, to be honest.
That's insane. That's why I had that feeling. I was like, this is doing better than what I was expected.
But like, Remy, didn't you told me about the feeling of tokenflation? Like, didn't you felt that Opus was just like consuming like crazy?
So let's also jump into that one. A week ago, I moved over to the Claude Max plan, the Max, the $200, the one that they want you to be on. I was starting to run into my Max 1 limits, which is something that I had never done before. I was never able to finish the week 80, 90%. And my workload has not gone up. Yes, maybe I have a Claude bot that's running, but I was not using it more. And that's why, I mean, I think I sent to you once a screenshot, Emrick. I had waited for my quota to end. My quota started 3 minutes in, 17% of my quota was used. That's numbers that you cannot.
That's too much.
That's numbers that were not happening before. So, and also I want to say I use something called Codex Bar, which is a product from Steinberger. It allows you to see how many tokens you used. Well, what I've seen is when I started out using that product, I was using $1,500 per week or per month, and now I cannot get more than 1,000. I'm on the Max plan and I used $800. What was happening is that a few months ago, the API costs would have been monstrous. They moved us over to these new models that are more performant. And at the same time, they did tokenflation. Since you don't know exactly how many tokens are included in each quota, they can just bring it down. So right now, your $200 subscription, it covers maybe about $1,000 worth of spend. And your Claude Max 100 model, it used to go up to 1.6 thousand per month. So I don't know if that's clear to everybody here, but what's happening is they're bringing down the number of tokens that you can use in your quota, and it's coming closer. It's getting closer to the API price. I'm not saying it's getting there. I'm saying it's getting closer.
And, we see clearly that there's way more usage for the price. They say you save 50%. Have you felt it? Like since you're paying 200, you're feeling like that there's a difference?
I got a boost. I really am not scared to use the thing now. I'm just sending in like crazy. But that said, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish my quota probably. I'm 2 days in, 26% used. Yeah.
2 days in, 26%. Are you serious? So you're going to finish it before the month, no?
No, it's not the month. It's per week.
It's per week. Okay. Yeah, you're almost finishing it. But I guess you're using it a lot. with your OpenClaw as well? Are you using it?
Yeah, I have now, well, we're going to get into OpenClaw, right? I have 3 OpenClaws running, and 2 of them are on my plan here. I run them both on Sonnet, but their heartbeats are on Haiku.
That's a wise choice.
So now that we have gone over these models a bit, what I wanted to say a bit earlier was, how does this compare to GPT? I would be considering using GPT again under certain conditions. Now, everybody knows what's happening right now between Anthropic and the US government. There were talks on the models refusing to do work for the government, with certain protections and decisions that were taken on Anthropic's side inside the model, some guardrails, and that enraged Trump. He tweeted, I think it's Truth Social or something. He said, if they don't remove these guardrails, the contract is over. And it was no bluff. The thing about Trump is you don't bluff. They cut the contract. They gave them 24 hours or 48 hours. I think Dario said that they can't do anything about it, and they cut the contract. So they lost probably their biggest client. It's crazy. So what does this have to do with us, and why would I move? So yeah, here's the tweet. Yeah. You can put it one way or another. In terms of woke, what I would say is that they're playing the moral police here. And when you play the moral police, you're going to enrage a bunch of people, and you have to make sure that that bunch of people is not more than 50%. And right now, I don't think it's a good time to play the moral police. I don't think it's a good time to tell people how their model should be, what they should be doing with their AI. We're in an exploratory phase. I really believe in open everything. I think they messed up here. What are your thoughts on this one?
At least they have some level of values. They want to protect their values. I think it's also in the right of Donald Trump and the government to be angry at them and cut them. It's a choice. It's a choice from them, and they are getting the consequences from their choice. It seems like they are winning the population. You see a lot of people unsubscribing for OpenAI that took the contract and going to Anthropic in a pure capitalistic fashion. I think they are not going the right direction. They are searching for problems, I would say, but at least they are gaining the image fight for some people. At least they take some decision. They just don't accept everything.
For me, this would be a reason to go back to GPT, because I have a practical case here. I was running tests in my browser with the Chrome extension using Claude. You basically ask Claude to do something for you, and Claude takes the control and does it. So I said to test my payment flow on my website, and it went all the way to the end and said, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to do any financial. I am not capable of testing this. It's like, why are you not capable of putting in? It's a fake credit card. Everybody knows the 4242, the Stripe test credit card that you're allowed to use. Why would that be a problem to test the flow? You're basically being counterproductive here. Because of your woke mind, you're being overly careful. Because it's bad to do financial stuff with the model. And what about if this was something else, where we're testing something that's super important, probably something that's at the government level? They probably have something super critical to the government, to the country, and this model just stands up and says, "No, I'm sorry. You're going to have to find another model to do this because I can't, because my IQ is high enough, but I just can't do this."
Last year we've been to South by Southwest in Austin, and we met somebody from Anduril. You know who is the CEO of Anduril? Palmer Luckey. And this guy said in a response for Anthropic Choice that it should not be a company responsibility to decide what to do with the army. Basically, it should be for the people that are voting. So if you vote for Trump should have the choice of doing what the fuck they want with the army, and not for a company to block what an army would do. So
if you look at it,
it's a
Imagine this, where picture the model like a SaaS, right? So you have Anthropic model, you're using it as a tool to be productive, and you're working for the government. What about if you were on Slack and you're texting your colleague about a case, and Slack says, "I cannot send that message. I'm sorry." You would get rid of Slack. You would get this shit out of here. We have to get some real messaging where we can, and they probably don't use Slack at government, but maybe they do actually. I don't know. But it's like that, right? This is software at the end. These models are software, and we have models that are refusing to do the work that we are asking it to. And the decisions are being made in a small committee being what? 100 people that work for a company. They have more importance than the president. It puts all the democracy at stake here.
You're saying 100. I don't think it's 100. It's like not more than 20, 15, 10. I don't think there's more people that are actually taking the decision here.
There's a serious problem here. If 10 unelected people can choose what is morally correct and not, and can affect the government, can affect choices being made, yeah, it puts a big question on what democracy is. And for the best of it, I don't think that we should have morally aware, moral police models, right? And for my case, I need to choose another model to test my checkout flow. It sucks. Apparently, it's morally incorrect to do any financial stuff.
So I don't know if you remember, Remy, but some years ago, we participated into a hackathon with Amazon, AWS specifically, and they did us an exercise. The exercise was like, imagine that we are in a journal talking about our startup. And you know what? I did this exercise with Anthropic, and I said, like, just create like reaction to my product from people. And Claude said to me, no, you cannot create fake reviews. Like, it's against the rules of Anthropic and Claude. You cannot create fake reviews. I was just trying to redo this exercise of like, trying to understand how people can react to my product. I cannot even do this. I found the guidelines completely stupid and like really arbitrary.
Everything is great and all until you hit the wall and you're like, what the fuck? You're like, what? I didn't know that there was a walled garden. Like, what am I not allowed to do here? What is this shit? And then it's like, it puts the whole thing in question, really. Damn, maybe I shouldn't invest so much time and everything on this. Maybe I should use this as much as I can and use a non-woke model. And maybe I should have my own models. Maybe I should be using Grok.
Talking about this, you're doing a perfect segue, Remy. I just wanted to do a little bit of talk about our friend, the Chinese, because if you could get your own model running on your machine, and recently we got multiple releases, and specifically the one from Alibaba again, and they release multiple models and specific models. Like if I go on coding, I think you can find models that you can run locally and that are starting to get closer to like Anthropic model. Like you can see that this Alibaba model here is close to Opus 4.0, the artificial analysis index. So, and I don't know if you've heard about it. Like, do you know how they managed to get such a good models that fast? Have you heard in the news?
I think everybody knows how this happens. We all know I'm going to make a funny guess, but have you seen that meme? The last thing you see before giving government secrets?
No, actually they didn't. So I think it was 1 month ago, OpenAI did the crybaby in a tweet saying that Chinese companies were distilling the OpenAI model. And then Google arrived and did their crybaby. And then recently Anthropic said which lab specifically. I think Moonshot AI and like other examples are
Kimi 2.5.
Yeah, exactly. No, actually, Kimi is in this list. And so what they are doing, they are spending millions and millions on the Anthropic APIs, and they do reinforcement learning on Claude answers. And so it's great. It's kind of working because it allows them to get inferior models. But so I don't have the link right now, but it has been shown that it falls off in coding and anything Claude Code equivalent. The model would be just worse because it's just a model that is trying to reproduce what Daddy is doing. And you never can get as good as Daddy.
Damn Chinese, man. What we say about the Chinese is right here. It's completely right. You know how you have those fake Teslas that look like a Tesla? Well, they're making a fake Anthropic. They're cloning models. They found a way to clone models. It's really effective. That's crazy.
I mean, it's often the case they take a Western technology and they clone it. The thing is, they are kind of efficient at it. So that's the scary part. The cool part is that the same way an LLM cannot invent something that hasn't been invented yet, it seems like Chinese labs are like LLMs. They cannot like create something new, they just copy.
So I heard that there were 25,000 Anthropic accounts that were banned, that were taken away. That's a lot of accounts. They have a lot of people in China. Maybe They put 25,000 Chinese with their accounts and just had a deal where they would just give it to the model for some money or whatever, and then there we go. And then the thing starts to do its work. You would automate this thing. I don't know, how can you orchestrate a 25,000 account orchestra, if you want to call it that way, because you have to do authentication. You have the same IP. They'll block you if you have so many things coming from China. You have to do it probably in other countries. I don't know. This is a orchestrated attack here.
In the Anthropic blog post, they said that they were coordinating with other labs. I guess they're coordinating with DeepMind, they're coordinating with OpenAI to just catch these attacks as fast as possible. Just to be able to, because even if you're saying they have 25,000, maybe they use VPN to make sure they do not get recognized as Chinese. But I think when they do their attack and they do their distillation, they need to do certain specific prompts to actually do reinforcement learning on it. So they need to do a specific kind of prompts. So I think now all the labs are equipped to defend against these attacks. But, I want your opinion, because on Twitter, so I clearly see this as an attack. Working at the lab, I think it's an attack. It's a way to extract IP from somebody that worked hard to have it. But on Twitter, everybody was like, no, but you also stole public resource. Chinese are just stealing what you already stole. And so in the end, Anthropic is the bad guy. What do you think about this?
The question is, something that was stolen again, and people are basically disregarding the work that Anthropic did.
Yeah,
because
clearly.
If it was stolen, why didn't the Chinese steal that in the first place and make a better model anyway? They would be in front of Anthropic's models. That goes to show that there was work. The work is definitely better. No doubt that Anthropic's models are better than all the other models. We were talking about it. I called the shot. I was like, man, dude, this is better than GPT. And I jumped, and everybody is jumping now. It's actually a bit late in the game. If you haven't jumped yet, then you might be a bit late. But man, Anthropic has been putting in the work, and you cannot take that away from them. I don't know how you can flip this around and say that, yeah, stealing is easy. Come on, dude. If stealing was easy, then the North Africans, they would already have their model.
I met somebody at an event from TikTok, ByteDance, and they created recently CDance 2.0 that is an amazing video model. But if you try to scrape Pikachu or, I don't know, any Netflix show from CDance, it will generate it. So clearly, the Chinese are also stealing whatever data they can. They're literally stealing everything they can. So now you are twisting the thing, saying that, because US also does this, so it means that it's okay to steal. I don't know. It's confusing, man. I'm really confused with the Twitter reactions about this.
Hey, I mean, I know this was not part of our subjects here, but wasn't there a theory that the internet has lost all of its anonymity? Do you know what I mean or not? There was a paper that was published where, since everything is getting stolen everywhere, all the models they already know, they will know you. They will have your information inside their foundation. Is that a thing, or did I invent that?
So I think specifically in big companies, Google, they take private information really seriously. They don't train on it. I just cannot say about all the labs. I'm not in all the companies, so I don't know. It might be true. It might be as an example that Chinese are using everything.
I'm not talking about your Gmail, whatever. I'm saying we train OpenAI models when we were I remember on that thing, it said, you're training a better model that's coming out. You have two different options. Choose the one that you want. You can opt out on Anthropic. It's opted in when you start with Anthropic. So they're training their models on your requests, on your queries, on your prompts. The next models will know you, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, it's possible. I just haven't read that article, so I don't have a good thought about it.
Yeah, no, I have to bring that up. But that's some scary stuff right there.
Yeah, clearly. Talking about AI replacing, I would say, real businesses. Did you had some money invested into SaaS stock yourself?
Yeah, I've been 100% on SaaS. Yeah, I don't believe in anything but SaaS. Software as a service for life. I want to put more money into Slack. I want to put more money into everything that has a dollar value per seat per human. If you can see what I mean, if you're exposed to SaaS, that's scary stuff. What happens if there are less seats? Slack will be killed. Here we go. So here's the meat, everybody. So can you give us a little heads up on this one? I know we're copying our friends at All In. We synchronously watched the same episode together, and then we talked about it earlier. And they were talking about this doomsday article. What did you take of this? What is this all about?
Oh yeah, the news was Citrini Research is a hedge fund, and they are really good at Twitter. Like they have hired amazing Twitter people, and they do good calls too. I think it's a really good company, and they did a fantasy piece of art. Like it's about we are thinking that the future will look like this, and the future is intelligence is infinite. So everybody's creating their own SaaS. Because everybody's creating their own SaaS, they want to increase their margin. And right now, margin are being eaten by Stripe, Amex, anything that is charging you fees on every transaction. And so they are supposing that in the future, everybody will use USDC, will use crypto, and all these big companies that are racking billions and billions of revenue will eventually just die in 2028. And that's the meat of this article. It's of course a prediction, so it's absolutely unsure. And I think you had some ideas that it could have been they have shorts on these companies and they're trying to write whatever to make the shorts go through. What do you think about this article, Remy?
Yeah, there were some rumors that this was a paid post. This has been promoted by shorters who need this as oxygen, because you know that when you short, you only have a certain amount of time for your short to get through, and you need to pump the short to get some oxygen, because it's really difficult when things don't go down and you've already paid for it. And I would say they did a really good job here, because it's really close to reality. It's like a alternative reality that we're living in right now, which hasn't happened yet. And it's so close to right now. 2028 is so close. And you see everything that's happened so far since the revolution. 2026, we have the personal assistant. We have the agents that we were talking about. You remember A2A, agent to agent? That is something that's happening right now. And what do I think about Amex, MasterCard, all this? Man, they're not in a good spot. Actually, while you said this, is that the reason why, I own some Circle, the company Circle? Is that the reason why Circle went up, the USDC? It pumped, man. It went up 40%, I think.
For real? Wow, I forgot about it. Do you still own it?
Yeah, I'm down, still down, but I bought it at $100. I think it's at 80, but it went down to $40 at some point.
Yeah, I'm sharing.
yeah.
Okay, it went up, but it didn't went up like crazy. I mean, yeah,
No,
it actually went up like crazy if you think about it.
It went up like crazy, man.
That's
40%.
Let's look at this month.
That's 40%.
Yeah, no, clearly. If you have bought it and I think it's really the moment where the Citrini article went out actually.
So there is a correlation.
Also war. I don't know.
Yep, there is a correlation. So that went up and everything went down. I mean, come on. But yeah, what do I think about machines using USDC? Why not, man? Why not? That sounds like a sexy future, actually. I really like it. What do you think about machines? You give them a daily budget, and it starts to pay other machines, starts to pay other agents, What do you think about that? That's 2028, or is it 2030, or is it 2026? Maybe to be honest, man, 2026, we could see this happen,
OpenClaw was the phenomenon of this last 2 months. But do you remember Moldbook? So we talked about Moldbook in our last podcast. And I think Moldbook is dead. Moldbook really didn't live long. But a lot of people, me included, we all tried to create a clone of Moldbook to do something else. And I saw so much hire your agents of somebody else to make a task. And a lot of this platform were using USDC. So I think right now we have everything. We have the agents, we have USDC. We just haven't yet reached a platform that is actually used. Fiverr still exists. But I think Fiverr is really down if you think about it. But there is just no platform yet. You don't know right now a platform that you would trust to hire an agent. I don't think there is such platform.
I saw a few. I saw a few, to be honest. They're starting to build up, and as they build, you will see them down the road. So if you see a few platforms now that are selling agents, that are selling employees,
hmm
they will be around. I think they will start to churn less and less, and they will have more and more customers buying it. I think I saw 2 or 3. I actually would love to get in the game. I think it's pretty damn easy to get in the game and to start some malt companies. I'm not gonna lie. I bought a domain. I bought a domain called Claude Employees. I think that could take off, but I need to build the SaaS.
Like if you look at the Citrine article, the thing that the white collar will just like completely go bankrupt, and like in 2028 it will be only like Uber Uber drivers pretty much.
But Uber drivers are getting replaced as well soon. Maybe not in the worst parts of the world, but in the first world, they will be replaced as well. So, but by the way, also all the white collar people are in the first world. So there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah, so this article talks about SaaS, talks about USDC, and I was just asking you before, Remy, do you know how to charge USDC? And I just remember there was another news recently. It wasn't that big, but you can accept stablecoin with Stripe actually. It's still a private preview, but you can. I just don't know how much fees they are charging, but because if they charge the same fees, I don't know how useful it is. Even Stripe right now is like going into USDC already.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know many people that hold USDC. Usually they don't want to share it because they think that they can get away from the government. I think the government will catch you if you want to liquidate your funds. They will be at your door. So come out and start playing with stable cards. I think that if you give it to your agent, it wouldn't be that bad actually. So what is this that you're showing us here?
So it's kind of an old article, actually. It's like 6 months old, but I think it was when they started talking about stablecoin. And you can see that they use like a classical Stripe, and you can add a new option, the new option being crypto. And you can pay with stablecoin. It will connect to your wallet, and you can just immediately pay. Oh my God, I'm such a boomer because I'm seeing MetaMask as a second, and then he uses Phantom. I've never heard about this wallet. I should maybe look
Phantom?
back into. Yeah. Yeah, you using it?
I have Phantom. Yes, I have Phantom.
Yeah, I see what
I received a friend paid me with Phantom, but I transferred it over to my hard wallet. It's a practical wallet, to be honest.
So yeah, the USDC can be a thing. We'll see if it actually like develops as much as Citrine thinks it will. But yeah, eventually it's a play for 3 years. Maybe like Amex will be completely down and we'll be all using USDC.
That'd be sick, man. But I think that you still need some kind of physical aspect to it. It needs to be linked to a card or some kind of device. Maybe, I mean, it would be hard to win against the lobbies there, but it would be cool to have either on your phone, or it could even be a ring. You could just tap something else that's not a credit card, and that would be USDC, and then you would have your agents on the same account that would be spending your money. So you'd have a physical and
making you money.
Yep, trading and everything.
It flows perfectly. Thank you, Citrine, to make me flow so easily. And then we're coming back to Jack Dorsey. Have you seen what Jack Dorsey tweeted recently?
So yeah, some recent news from Jack at Jack. If anybody doesn't know who that guy is, he's the guy who created this platform that was transformed. Actually, the only blue things that are left are the tick mark and a few buttons, but most of it is black. And X.com now is the name, but Jack was the CEO of Twitter, and he's now something called Square that changed to Block. Man, you have to follow this to be informed. But the latest news from Block is that they're gonna get rid of 40% of their workforce, and they're going to be passing from 10,000 to 6,000 employees. The stock popped because humans are expensive, and a world without humans is a world that is profitable. It's got a lot of money. Wow, 38 billion in market cap.
It goes perfectly into the Citrine narrative. Like the SaaS companies, like Square is kind of a SaaS, yeah. They have a little bit of hardware, but like agents, and so I highlighted it. He said that the intelligence tools, That's interesting because he does not say AI directly, but he says exactly what Citroen is saying. Like smaller and flatter teams, new way of working. The stock completely popped at that moment.
So we're there, right? We're gonna get replaced, man. It's nearly over for us, right? It's coming, right? Do we know who is fired here? They were not janitors. Those people are useful. The people that were fired were developers that are just basically clicking on the enter button, validating
for the
AI
Claude prompt.
slop. Yeah.
But I have to say, of course, I showed you the graph for 5 days. But if you see the graphs on 5 years, like it's not a company that is going well. It may be popped, but if you look at the 5 years chart, it's not going great for that company. And I think here it's not really a play about AI optimization, but just like improving baseline, to be honest. So I think AI, it goes well into the narrative, but personally, my opinion is that it's not related. It's just the company cannot find new ways of making money. So they're just optimizing their baseline.
Yeah, because look, what happens when you have a new AI thing that comes out? What, you're going to just fire random people and reorg? This was going to be a reorg anyway. I think they were getting rid of redundancies, of course. He does mention that he doesn't need them anymore. That's why they're going away. It's not because the company is doing bad financially. But I would say that I think that this is not something that was a sudden change. They were going to do this anyway, and they used this AI thing. It all makes sense, right? For the story. Is that what you're saying as well?
Yeah, it enters the narrative. I think it's like, yeah, we don't need that much people with AI. I personally do not buy it. My personal thinking process is like, I see in companies that are legit, if AI is used correctly, it's improving the productivity of people. You clearly see some people that can run like, I see often people running like 3 to 5 agents per person, and you clearly see that's improving their productivity. It's probably not the best output, like a lot of slop is created, but it's coming. And I think all the developers can just improve their productivity, and you're also doing less work. You're just like giving an intent, and the agent can do everything by itself. So when I see somebody firing like 1,000 people, maybe some people were less useful than others. But like theoretically, with these 4,000 people could be like the equivalent of 20,000 people if you increase them with AI. So using AI for a way to like remove people, for me, is just a way to improve the baseline short term.
Well, let's just hope that we're not in that ourselves, because I need at least, I would say, 5 more years of salary to get out of this underclass. So if you can give me 5 more years, but yeah, man, it's some scary stuff, and we don't have 5 years left. Seriously, I don't know. 5 years from now, Emrick, what are we doing?
I think in 3 years, already like the job of software engineer is almost not existing anymore. So it's either we change into becoming manager of agents, or we do not exist. Like we just doing something as you're becoming plumber, but you cannot just be a software engineer like before.
I mean, I'm not one anymore, actually. I have jumped. I am an agent manager currently, I would say, with a bit of knowledge on software. But you know, if you were to take a notepad and code without any autocomplete and code perfectly with perfect syntax, are you capable of doing that today?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You know, I could do it in certain language. I'm actually becoming really serious at C++, at Go. So it's languages that I spent a lot of time. But like, life is not about just doing C++ and Go. You need sometimes to do JavaScript. You need to do whatever. Like, it's unrealistic to think that you can just be an expert at a language. Nowadays, I think it's way better to just have an agent do everything throughout the stack, and you can do web at that moment. You can do backend at that moment. And you will just ship products faster.
I think that what keeps you valuable here is when the agent generates its slop, you can read it and say, wait a second, you could have done a class that would work for all of these classes. You could have inherited something. The pattern that you're doing here is shit.
Yeah.
Why isn't there a service for this? Why is this file so big? That's the stuff that has value today, rather than doing syntax perfect. But you know, in some way, Emrick, if we're thinking a bit philosophically, like we usually do at the end of episodes anyway, we're becoming illiterate, correct?
So in my job, I have to interview people, and I see people becoming illiterate. I see it from my own eyes. People that just cannot. Clearly, you understand that for each concept, they understand it superficially, and they need a LLM to actually implement it. So yeah, we're becoming illiterate. But it's somehow, I think it's kind of fine, because if you can find the information, like before, you could read a book and then you had Google, and now from Google you have LLMs. So in the end, if you're shipping something of quality, like, so I would just want to come back on something that you said. You said we are still useful because we can review the slope of AI. The problem is we are getting bottlenecked by humans, because AI is capable to code 100 times more than you, and you're able to review only once. So let's say AI is creating 100 PRs and you can review one per day. You are clearly the bottleneck. And labs are looking at this right now. Labs are trying to find ways to automate reviews, because the reviews are the bottleneck. Yes, it's still needed because the slope is slope, but reviews are a bottleneck that will be fixed. And at some point, the moment it's fixed, we will be way more productive.
You said that, but I was about to say we're gone.
No, we're not gone, because you think about reviewing code as something useful, but you could take some, like abstraction. You have a compiler code and you take some abstraction, you have Python. And now on top of Python, you can just say that you're writing some specs. And the specs are like, my product needs to do this in English. And this would be where your value lies, not in the code, but in the spec.
Yep. We're going to get there. And that's why English is the coding language in some way.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's where we're going. And we're already there, actually, for most of it. I asked the question because I don't think I can write code anymore. I think that it's already been 2 years that I haven't written a single line. And I can read code. I know exactly what it does. I haven't lost my touch, my taste, but I have become illiterate in some way. And that's the future right there of software engineering. Either be illiterate or die. That brings us to an end here for this episode on Watch Out. I hope we kept you entertained during this episode. We went over the latest news with the government in regards of Anthropic vs OpenAI in the recent models that came out. We went over this recent firing of 4,000 smart guys. Thanks everybody for being around. We will be back in the next episode with some more news. See you everybody. Ciao.